When discovering your movement, it's very important to understand that there's different layers of the body, how everything connects, but just in general our makeup. It affects our functional movement and our overall performance. This affects our ability to be active and live that lifestyle that we want to live. So here we're going to break it down into the main sections, and then that way, as you understand how all this works, it all makes a lot more sense. The first part is going to be looking at our framework, the skeletal system. So in general, the bones, how they connect at the joints, but also the connectivity of them together, whether it's ligaments or capsules that hold it together. Those are just thicker parts of connective tissue. In general, from there, when you actually look at the actual skeletal system, we can move on to other systems such as our muscles that surround it. And in general, in between there, you're going to have your cardiovascular that carries the blood, and then also the nervous system. These are not really as a big of a factor right now in this section, but the main thing that we're looking at is how the main pieces more or less connect together and what happens whenever they get locked up. So moving on from the skeletal system, going on to the muscular system, we're looking at that as the musculoskeletal system that actually controls our overall function and our performance. So let's break it down even further. When we're talking about the layers of the body, the first part we look at in our discovery of movement system is movement, so movement of the joints. So we look at the joints in general. If they quit moving, meaning they get locked up, we don't have that functional movement to perform the activity or the range of motion that we want to go through. So we're definitely looking at the joints themselves, how the ligaments or actual capsules of those joints are tight, and if they're not moving in the range of motion they should. And that actually helps us understand if there's any restrictions in those areas that we need to tackle first. Going on from that movement part, when we're looking at as far as the joints, we're looking at our muscles, so the different layers of the muscles, because it depends on where we're at and exactly how many different layers and also how thick these muscles are. Every muscle group has their own function as far as what they're used for, but also just in general, the diameter of the muscles, if they're more of a muscle for power or more of a muscle for endurance, will help us know also too how thick they are and how much control they're going to have in a certain section of the body. So we're moving on from the different muscles, then you're going to look at the superficial layer between the muscle and the skin, which is fascia. The fascia is very highly innervated, which means it has a connectivity with our nervous system, and this can control any kind of tightness or pain that we're experiencing in these areas. So again, when we're looking at just a broad view, we want to break each layer down, and then depending on what's happening in the body or what's limiting us, we can have a better understanding of which layer to work on, but then also how it's going to relate to each other layer in general. It may seem a little complicated at first, but again, as we're going through it, and depending on which area that we're working with, we're going to have a better idea of the direction to go, because it's not going to just be one answer. There's never just one area of the body that you're going to go release that fixes it all, because there's a lot of complementary sections or areas that are working together as a team. And so if there's not a player in there that's not doing his job, then the team together does not collaborate and work well together. So again, when we're talking about the layers of the body, this is again one of the biggest pieces when we're going over discovery of movement, that we have a better understanding of all the different sections or areas that may be limiting from getting the full function and activity level that you want to go out there and perform the activity or job that you need to get done.